Okay. Good morning. Um what's up everybody? Welcome. They have the stream scheduled for 9. The verdict watch hasn't started yet, so we have some time. I do want to take this time to try to figure out where we left off on the countdown. Remove all this stuff here. Yeah, I was caught off guard. I was completely caught off guard. But I did sleep pretty decently. Dropped off the baby. I worked out for a little bit. I was actually in the gym when Mandy texted me. She's like, "Hey, I don't know if you knew they're starting at 9." I'm like, "What?" So like I scrambled, I scrambled and I ran back. Um. Okay, so let me check where we left off the last time. Hopefully, we have a few minutes before they start. Let's see. The last time we left off, what was the timer at? I thought it was like 40 something minutes. Let me check. Check here. Okay, no, 55. Oh, no. It's gonna be kind of a rough estimate. Let me do it from when they cut the feed. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough estimate because I don't know when the jury walked out. They just, I don't know, they just cut the feed at some point. So I'll leave it at before they went to the black screen. So 52 minutes. Let's do 53 minutes. So let me get the timer thing. Where's that at? Boom. Let's see. Let's try this. Oh, no. Oh, that double the time. Reset. Okay. Try this again. Bear with me. Add time and start. There we go. Okay. And now let's pause it. Amazing. Good morning, man. How you guys doing? How was your weekend? By the way, so we did cover that standoff yesterday. I haven't checked this morning. We need to do another check, but I have not seen anything. Nothing about this standoff where the guy supposedly unalived himself, I guess if you want to say that. No, actually, Walkabout Bridge says still drinking that mushroom coffee. No, I still have it. I've been on like pre-workout lately, but I feel like I need to cut back again on that. I always try to like take breaks from the pre-workout. Lately, I've been doing pre-workout. That's what I had this morning when I woke up first thing in the morning. Had some pre-workout. My initial goal this morning was to like work out at 5:30 in the morning. I snoozed that thing, so I ended up doing it after I dropped off the baby. Mary, Red, Renee, good morning. Lutfi, Grumpy, Hoax, what's up, man? Kate, Green Submarine, Cutie Pie, Nina. Oh, by the way, British Choppy, good morning. By the way, people that have been following me for a while, some of you guys in the chat might remember Marisela Botello. A lot of you probably don't, because every time I talk about this story, I always have to do like a full recap. It's this woman that was murdered allegedly by 3 people. 3 people are being charged. It's a crazy, long, twisted story. I went really in depth, deep dive the hell out of the story. Spoke to people surrounding and someone involved in the story or relatives, and all. It's crazy, crazy. So today's the first day for Lisa. I think today's jury selection. It's in Texas. Lisa Dykes. I don't see anything in the news. I know today, I can't find anything right now, but I know for a fact today is the day of the trials. Oh, there it is. I found it. Let me play this link for you guys so we can watch this real quick. Because I just wanted to send my prayers out to that family and to some of the people I've been in contact with. I spoke with somebody, literally texted 2 people this morning. And over the last week, I spoke to 2 people that are going to be somewhat, I don't want to say how, somewhat involved in that trial.
Keeping an eye on 2 big in Cambodia.
Oh, crap. All that for a 19-second clip? Amazing.
Keeping an eye on 2 big court cases here in North Texas. First, jury selection begins today in the trial of Lisa Dykes. She's one of the 2 women accused of killing Marisela Botello in Deep Ellum back in 2020. Both suspects, they posted bond, cut off their ankle monitors, and fled the country. The FBI eventually caught them in Cambodia.
I think we're going to find out.
So that started today with the people that I've been following. I wish it was live streamed. It's not being live streamed. But yeah, just sending prayers out to the people involved. And there was another guy too, one of Chuck's friends. Chuck is a guy that's also being charged with the murder. A friend of his that had come on the channel and told us some of the stories. That guy he ended up getting really, really sick. I haven't spoken to him in a while. The last time I spoke with him, he had some sort of illness and stuff going on. He had a baby on the way. But he's the one that told us about Nina and Lisa practicing Santa Muerte, dark magic, whatever you want to call that shit. And I don't know. He kind of feels like they put something on him. I don't know. So yeah, so that's happening. We're here early today because they said it was starting at 9. Still hasn't loaded up. We're waiting to see. I don't know what happens. Yeah, that story. I mean, that story, I think it was a fake cease and desist, but I got some sort of fake cease and desist from the 2 alleged murderers. Because I was going so hard on that story and I was getting so many details and putting out so much information. They were threatening to like sue me or whatever. And nothing turned out. I actually think it was I think it was one of the killers, the alleged killers, I should say, that personally wrote that cease and desist to me. I think I spoke about it at one point. Marisela. I mean, I spoke to so many people in that story. That was a huge deep dive for me. There's going to be people testifying in that trial that I've, let me see if I covered it in this thing here. Oh, I never requested a review for this. Damn, slacking. Let me see if I ever went over it over here. I know I covered the cease and desist and the members, but I think I talked about it publicly at some point too. Not there. Oh, here it is. It's a members video. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing now, but I'll show you. Well, I don't know. I guess we have time. Long overdue for a members video. I have the whole situation with the cease and desist with regards to Nina and Lisa and Charles and Marisela, but sometimes I miss my little blue screen thing. Or green screen. It's a pain in the ass though. If you haven't seen that story, I'll put the playlist down below. But basically, a woman flew from Seattle to Texas, and she went out one night to like a club. She meets this guy named Charles, and he takes her back to the house, which was like in this throuple trio relationship with Nina and Lisa. Supposedly, he claims he fell asleep with Marisela in the bed. He wakes up, and one of these women have a knife to Maricela's like neck or head or pointing at her. Supposedly, he runs out, goes on a run. Next thing you know, Maricela's dead. And like the 2 GPS for Nina and Lisa, like both of their cell phones, it pinged where her body was found. Marisela was actually missing for quite some time before they found her body, but those two ladies' phones did ping from the house to the location to where her body was found. And so those women and Charles, they were all on the run. Eventually they all get caught. Nina and Lisa are locked up. They're a couple too. They're married, Nina and Lisa, and they're also in this troubled relationship with Charles. And so they bond out. Some lawyer puts up his property and gets them out, like $500,000 bail for each. Puts up his property, gets them out. So now they're on bond. They're also living together because they're married, so they can talk to each other. And just recently, let me show you this, they go on the run. And what's crazy, because I have a bunch of people, a bunch of contacts with this story. I know families, friends, not directly to Marisela, but the extension of like Nina, Lisa, Nina's ex-husband, neighbors, people that knew Lisa. Like,
is it time for a haircut? Like, am I looking crazy? Kind of.
Friends, just deep Charles's people. I'll say that. And so it says here, cops aren't told for 10 days that the married lesbian couple charged with murder of woman have
gotta love Daily Mail.
Have gone on the run after posting a $500,000 bail each and cutting off GPS anklet bracelets. So 10 days that they've had these GPS monitors cut off and they don't get notified for 10 days later. So they had a lot of time.
Amazing.
And I feel like, and I know, and a lot of people that have spoken to me tell me,
I feel that they have a lot of connections in Texas. They know a lot of people. Nina was a lawyer and Lisa was a paralegal, and they knew a bunch of people. I mean, I just feel, and they somehow fled to Cambodia, but they got their ass and brought their ass back.
Tell me that they're connected. They have a lot of connections. You got to be connected to have that kind of pull. Anyway, with all that being said, okay, I was getting a lot of information. I mean, to the point even where, you know, I found out that Nina, you know, she had that ex-husband, Bill. Nina, while with Bill, was hooking up and talking to Bill's son. And I have pictures and emails and everything to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And I struck a nerve. I was
so Bill, I don't even want to get into all of it right now because it's very like crazy, but this is one of the ladies that's being charged with murder, right? This is Nina right here. She was married to this guy, Bill. Bill dies in this car accident. I guess he had a heart issue, ran into another car. This was close to around the time that Nina and Lisa were, I don't know, getting closer. And Nina and Lisa started their own like law firm type of thing. I forgot the name, what it was called, and then this guy dies off. But anyway, this guy, Nina, because what happened was this guy, his son reached out to me. And he was like, listen, I got to tell you some shit. I had some recent conversations too, I don't know, months ago. It was really, really wild. I mean, I hope that guy, I don't know, it was crazy as shit. He's watching sometimes. But anyway, his son had told me that like him and Nina had kind of hooked up. I guess the proper terminology was oral copulation, even though he said he didn't want it. And he sent me emails to prove it. And this was while Bill was still alive. All right. But he also said that his father wasn't a good man. He said all kinds of stuff about his dad, though the daughters of Bill would disagree about all that, I guess, about that stuff. But anyway, it got so crazy. Check this shit out, right? This is how crazy it got. This is Nina, the woman charged with murder. I was sending this picture, and he was like, listen, this chick, she was sending me all kinds of stuff. So this is her sending him a picture, and that's her like reflection in the mirror or whatever. It was wild, bro. It was a wild freaking time. For people that don't know, this is 2 years ago. Okay, 2 years ago. When I dropped this thing, people, oh my God, on Facebook, it was crazy back then.
Really digging into the story. And so one day in May, I get this cease and desist. And this is, the letterhead is from one of their attorneys, but it was super unprofessional. They actually had a lot of my information wrong. They misspelled my last name. They had the wrong address. There's grammatical errors throughout this document. They're quoting me stating it's my opinion, then trying to use my opinion against me. Like, you shouldn't have an opinion. Just craziness, right? So I held out
on exposing this or putting this out for a long time. For months, I just kept quiet. They gave me 48 hours or they were going to like sue me or come after me legally. Nothing ever happened. And I just waited. I waited months and months and months until now these chicks are on the run again. They were on the run the first time. Now they're on the run again. So let me show you this email, because a subscriber has a husband that works in the legal field, and he asked to, to see the documents, and he broke everything down, and it was really interesting what he had to say. So I'm going to read through it. As to the first subject, is it a legitimate letter? Valerie Bastin was the criminal defense attorney as recently as April 29, 2021, according to an article in the Dallas Morning News. According to the most recent news articles, Mr. Heath Harris is a criminal defense attorney in Dallas, is the attorney for Lisa Dykes. No attorney is noted for Miss Morano. The attorney who signed below Miss Bastin, Todd, is an attorney based in Lake Mary, Florida, who mostly handles personal injury cases. Now that someone has texted and mentioned that he is a friend of Lisa's and that Lisa used to work for him as a paralegal, it makes sense. So this guy, at the end of the cease and desist, right, it's Valerie Bastin, and then you got this guy, Todd. Todd from Florida signed as well. And I had a contact reach me and tell me that because Nina's an attorney, or was an attorney, and Lisa was in the paralegal field, and that's how they met. They're very connected. And apparently Lisa knows this guy, like they're friends. And so it's interesting enough that I get this from them, even though a lot of people believe that this cease and desist was BS and that they just wrote it themselves, and maybe they either paid to use the letterhead or they just used it without permission. It does seem odd that the letterhead is used from Bastin Law, a Texas law firm signed by Bastin, but then undersigned by Mr. Lebesfield, whatever his name is. From our own personal experiences, once an attorney refers a matter to another attorney, which can be for one of several reasons, such as a specialty in a particular area of law. For example, a family law attorney may refer an injury case to an injury attorney and vice versa because their practice is not best able to handle such a case. Or in this case, a Texas firm has referred the matter to a Florida firm. It appears odd that the letter isn't on the letterhead of this Florida attorney and signed only by the Florida attorney, with Ms. Bastin only mentioned in the introduction. All right, so I mean, I guess you get the drift, but oh wait, let me see this here. Hold on, I actually want to hear this part here. So that's good news. Now as to the contents of the letter, looking at page 1, paragraph 2, your quote, your usage of the word seem, my opinion, seems, and ending the sentence under your name with a question mark implies that it is your opinion and not a journalistic statement of fact. I'm always, most of the time, super careful with my wording. People don't even realize that. That's why I don't sit for hours and speculate and speculate and speculate, because I've had serious people looking at my videos, you know what I'm saying? Also, when you say you guys leave your residences, car behind, you move out and move to different states, this is in fact factual. Like I literally got stuff off of the affidavit, and the information that I got was through other people. And even when I got it through other people, I was always careful. Like they literally had no basis at all for this shit. And I guess they were hoping I was going to take those videos down. So yeah, that whole thing back then, 2 years ago, you know, that was pretty crazy. Not as crazy as 2021 and the whole now this lawsuit thing, but it was crazy. And to think that this shit is still going on with the trial for the first alleged murder suspect finally starting, finally. So I guess they're going to do each person separately. So today, I think, is jury selection for Lisa Dykes. This is Lisa here on the left, I guess, and then Nina on the right. And then there's another guy named Charles Beltran. Bell to the no. Hey, Vic, what's up? Good morning. How you doing? Rise and shine. I miss sometimes doing stuff like that. Little super deep dives. Something that I plan to cover too. I guess I could have started at 10.
Something that I plan to kind of look into as well for the people that follow me with this whole adventures with purpose. Adventures with purpose, man. And that this guy, Jared Lysick, let me just be careful what I say because I know this guy always lurking around, no life weirdo. Jared let me just play a video. Hold on. I've always been careful too when talking about this guy, and we did some diving a little bit with this guy, and there's actually some people I got to reach out to also about this.
A founding member of a popular search dive team is facing allegations of rape of a child from 3 decades ago. Court documents obtained by 6 News show Jared Lysick of Adventures with Purpose is charged with 2 counts of rape of a child from 1992 in Utah. The documents say the girl was 9 years old and Lysick was 7 years older than her. Utah does not have a statute of limitations for rape, allowing charges to now be brought forward. Adventures with Purpose focuses on underwater search and recovery.
This guy has a huge freaking channel. Huge channel. All right. Adventures with Purpose. These allegations came forward with Adventures with Purpose, which the victim had a few messages with her. I personally believe her. She's very sincere, genuine. I personally believe her, but of course, he has to have his day in court and all that stuff. It's a 3 million, another 3 million subscriber channel, right? 3 million sub channel. All right. And, these charges came forward, and I honestly feel like this guy perpetuated the Kali Rodney shit and added flames to the situation that I was dealing with that country singer. Okay. And I think this, in my opinion, this guy did this for views and clicks, like perpetuating the conspiracy that she was murdered and there's other people involved. So I after that, seeing that with these guys, I didn't like this guy based off of that. And a lot of these other members too, they were jumping on and doing a world press tour on a lot of these other YouTube channels that just eat up and take whatever because they sell themselves out for a supposed celebrity. And they were saying a lot of misinformation about details of the car or how cars work and what it would flip or not, whatever, as there's some type of criminal experts. So anyway, shit hit the fan with these charges came forward. And I started kind of looking into things and diving. Some of you guys might remember when I spoke with Kevin. This was a year ago. I can't even believe how much time flies, yo. Look at this shit. A year ago. This is an ex-member, Kevin. Really, really nice guy. I still stay in contact with him. And I am going to talk with him about this other situation happening now. This is a video that I got exclusively nowhere else. And when I'm talking about deep diving and people trust the fuck out of me, okay? People that reach out to me, they know I'm not going to be one of these weasel people that leak out information and stuff like that. This was a video. I don't thank you for stopping by. And I have this exclusive video of Jared, a side that I've never seen before. It's going to be really interesting, but I have to give you a little bit of context because if I don't, you're going to be a little bit confused. And I took some notes. And so basically, back in 2021, there was a company that reached out to Jared for services. I believe it was like video editing, and they got everything set up, and they had like this 2-day turnaround time to get the videos done and processed. And so at some point it became a problem because usually the videos were supposed to be like 10 minutes long or around there. And the videos that were being handed to them, which was hours and hours and hours of footage, to be edited down to around, I think the lowest one was 25 minutes. Some of the other longer ones were 30 to 40 minutes. One of the longest ones was 50 minutes, which takes a lot of work. They apparently weren't meeting the demands that this guy Jared wanted, but of course, the stuff that he was asking for allegedly was outside of the contract. And so one of the people that was one of the chief editors there was Carson, the guy that's with or was, because he's no longer there anymore, but he was one of the chief editors at this company, and he was doing the videos for Jared. But
he was the chief, but there were other editors under him. Jared was asking for work. And when I say work, I mean work outside of the company. And so he took time off from his job and went to work with Jared. And that's when Jared approached him and offered him a job, which I don't blame Carson at all for leaving a company and taking a job that's offering better money, salary, maybe benefits. I don't know. I've done it myself. That you got to, self-perseverance to take care of yourself and your family. And Carson basically becomes the new Dan the cameraman, or replaces him at AWP. The other thing I wanted to just say real quick, and then we'll watch that this video. No, it's not like crazy, but you also have to think about, like, I guess the other people that were or are or were in AWP, why they can't say much, why they're, who knows what kind of contracts, NDAs, whatever, non-disclosure, non-compete this guy we're about to watch had them sign. And maybe, this is why they can't say certain things. Let's check it out. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below.
His little side hustle, as we've all acknowledged, is okay and appropriate with your company, that nothing goes.
So he's talking. He sent this video to the company, and he's talking about Carson.
On that one, we really enjoyed having Carson on site with us and on scene. We were working with the Diesel brothers a couple days ago. As such, I approached Carson and said, Carson, here's what I'm willing to pay you. And it didn't take Carson long to say, yeah, I would love to actually be on the road with you and go shoot and edit and be a part of the entire AWP organization. So anyway, I said, that's on you. Just so you know, Carson, I'm leaving, whether you come with us or whether you don't. So this is on Carson as to whether he's going to be joining us or not. But also, let me come back to the father and the mentor and the business. I've been in business for 25 years. I've built 4 multi-million-dollar companies. I've dealt with, the Utah startups and the young entrepreneurs, and I love
Utah startups, just Utah.
The hustle.
I'm just mentioning Utah because there was these weird people that kept saying that the cousin was, she's changing location and she made it up.
Recovery efforts.
Utah. That's just one of the locations that the allegations are coming from.
You guys, all right? I get it. But I also know, there may be some bullshit contracts in place whether we have a non-solicit or non-compete or NDAs or whatever that bullshit is, all right? It just keeps the honest people honest is what it does. And it tries to, and it's also written and in favor of the company, which then, if you look up litigation law, is going to take you down a different path as to, if it's written in to benefit the company, you guys are already toast. But in addition to that, we all know, I know, because I've been through litigation a million times, if you have any of these bullshit contracts and you try to pull anything over on Carson, let me just be very straight with you. One is, you guys don't want to spend the money on litigation because...
So, you could look at this as so one, he kind of poached, right? He poached this guy, Carson, which is in Carson's benefit more, whatever. But I guess this guy was in a contract. So then Jared sends this video to that company to, in my opinion, bully and intimidate them and try to scare them and be like, I'm bigger than you, I have more money than you, resources, so you guys better just shut up and put up.
Because I have more adult money than you do, and I
have more adult money than you do.
Back Carson.
So he has more adult money. I think that's what he said.
Just being very straight with you. I will back Carson, make sure that no financial burden falls on Carson. Because I'm offering him a lot of money. Benefits to grow outside of what he's currently doing, which is editing. That I'm going to be bringing him into a producer role or co-producing.
And if you think about it, all this ish he was talking about, right? All this ish. Where's this guy at now, right? Right, this came out after. Now he still has to go to trial, and he still has 3 million subs. And from what I heard they're working overtime to clean up those comments on that channel. So nothing said over there about this ish. That's what I heard.
And just so much more. This is Carson's time to shine. He's 20 years old, and it's time for him to grow. So anyway, I just wanted to be very transparent with you guys. Leaving regardless. Would love to take Carson if Carson's on board.
So Jared's talking about leaving the company that was doing these editing these videos for him, and also, wanting Carson to come with him, that he gave him the offer.
And don't give him any grief if he decides to leave. Let's all wish him well, and I'm going to continue to mentor him and help him grow. And someday, if he comes over here, he's going to grow, and he's going to fly from my nest as well. And you know what? That's what we do as a team over here. Anyway, on that note, we need to decide how we're going to be wrapping this up, because we will not be continuing, so we need to end any future payments, which, by the way, you guys have also continued to overcharge me from what our original agreement is. So again...
So with the overcharging thing, so I have to give a little context when I can. The overcharging thing, so when he supposedly first started with this company, Jared, allegedly, they marked down...
That's the thing. Jared was doing business with this company, and he was like, oh, I like how this guy's editing, I guess, or whatever, so let me just take him, I guess. That's what I heard.
The first month was cheaper. Then the rest of the months, the prices went up. And when that happened, supposedly this guy started claiming that he was being overcharged. So that's what he's referencing here.
Additional breach of contract there. So if there's any, so let's just be very straight on this one. Clean cut. You know, we all learned something from it. Any type of a hiccup or a hassle at all, I'm going after finances on you guys. You know, for what I've lost from my sponsors, I'm going.
And the sponsor, well, oh no, I'll leave that out. But just imagine how, I don't know, intimidating this must be. I guess it was a startup company, somebody with money, followers coming down on you. We're taking the person, which
there's a lot of people that are afraid to say anything about this guy, or especially people that have worked with him. I guess because they're people are on some type of contract, whatever, and so they're very worried about this guy. You know,
we want Carson. We're going to take him.
After what you guys have overcharged me, I'm going after data breach. Oh, data breach is a tough one for you guys. In addition to that, you know, then of course I'm in a position with, you know, 1 million plus on Facebook, another 1.3 million on YouTube.
So this back then, 1 million plus on Facebook, 1.3 million on YouTube. So it just makes me think of like anybody that comes against him or his organization, which this company didn't come against him. But I just imagine anybody coming against Jared or his organization or whatever, he's letting you know, I got this huge following. I got money.
Is that, you know, when I made the decision to jump to you guys, I looked for reviews, you know, and currently at the time, you know, there was one that was kind of iffy. But, you know, had she not come back to you, I would have been like, oh, I'm definitely not going to be using them. So let me just be very straight to you as well. You know, I have your client list. I will make sure that I, you know, let them know that I've left and the reasons why.
So he's even telling them, I have your client list. I'll contact them. I'll let them know my feelings, but all this stuff.
I've chosen to leave. But I also make sure that I put the reviews out there on Yelp and Google.
Puts the reviews out there on Yelp and Google. So is he just talking about his own personal review from his company? Or is he saying he can manipulate reviews or pay for reviews or whatever? I mean, he doesn't say that specifically, but I'm just guessing, I guess maybe his own review he's stating.
I will make sure that I, you know, let them know that I've left and the reasons why I've chosen to leave. But I also make sure that I put the reviews out there on Yelp and Google as well as out there on YouTube World. So don't F with me. Don't F with Carson is how it comes down to the end of the day. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you guys were going to or that you have.
The stream just started 30 minutes ago, guys. If you're seeing like 14 hours ago or something, that's probably maybe because I scheduled it last night, but we've literally only been here 30 minutes.
Or that you would. I'm just saying, listen, I've been in business longer than you guys have been alive, and I know startups because I've written some of the same contracts and NDAs, non-solicits and non-competes. And
this is what I'm saying. I think this is really interesting because you can kind of see, I'm just kind of imagining what kind of documents these people in AWP have probably signed, and now they have all this litigation and lawyers probably involved. This guy's been doing this for a long time, Jared.
Whatever else. And, you know, Carson is going to be doing freelance with us, and he is not going to be competing with your company by starting one of his own, as well as, check this out, you guys also have a location thing when you go to court over litigations for non-competes. If you guys have documents or anything, but it doesn't cover, you cannot restrict somebody from opening up shop or doing what needs to be done in other locations. So we've all acknowledged that you guys cannot meet my needs for traveling across the entire U.S. and back for locations, which then means that you guys have even less of a leg to stand on if you were to try to tie Carson's hands. So anyway, that's it. Very transparent. I love having conversations about this. I want to make sure I got it all out. So that's why I put this one-sided video together. That way it wasn't just a half-hour long conversation on
one-sided video. So yeah, he doesn't even want to have conversation or going back and forth. This is it. Take it or leave it kind of thing.
Zoom or Skype. You guys can respond to it however you want, via email, via Skype, via WhatsApp, whatever. We need to figure out, are you guys finishing in those last two? When's Carson's last day going to be? Are we not going to finish the last two with...
Just kind of tell him too, like, when's Carson's last day? You need to figure out when he's leaving.
It wasn't just a half-hour long conversation on Zoom or Skype. You guys can respond to it however you want, via email, via Skype, via WhatsApp, whatever. We need to figure out, are you guys finishing in those last two? When's Carson's last day going to be? Are we not going to finish the last two with... you guys can be like, you know what? Yeah, let's also give back your last month's pay and just take Carson now and have him finish the two outside of... Or, hey, we need Carson to finish up with current clients. Whatever. You guys need to figure that out. But anyway, in the end, let's make it clean, simple, and we just simply part ways, and we don't make this rough on anybody. It won't be rough on me. At the end of the day, I've got nothing to lose, okay, and everything to gain, and that's where we're at. Appreciate you guys, and we had some good times along the way. Talk to you later. Bye.
And you see that last facial expression, like right at the last second, I noticed that to me, it's almost kind of like he's kind of laughing and smirking, like maybe he didn't mean to catch that last half a second or whatever.
Talk to you later. Bye.
I don't know. Or maybe I'm just, I don't know. So anyway, I say all that to say, Josh seems like he's being targeted. He has a family, wife, daughter, and a baby on the way. And who's sending this guy a bunch of strikes, trying to shut him down? Well, AWP, Jared, allegedly. 7 copyright strikes. Trying to take his channel down now. 10 copyright cases active. This is my work. So this guy's now going back around. And by the way, if you notice right here, it says account termination is on hold. So Jared's trying to shut this guy down, trying to shut his channel down, his earnings, income. Can I say I'm surprised? No, not at all. And these are some really nice guys that worked really hard to help out AWP and build it up. He's turning around like a snake, behind the scenes in the grass, swiveling like a reptile, doing what he has to do to people that supported and took care of him. All right, this is the kind of people you're dealing with. So I plan to do a video on it. I have a lot of information that I'm still kind of collecting, and I want to be careful how whenever I say things. Might do a pre-recorded video because I'd like to, try to get some support for this guy. Maybe some other YouTubers can cover it. It seems like he could be potentially abusing the copyright system, Jared, which a lot of people online and on YouTube don't look kindly to people that abuse the copyright system. And hopefully we can get YouTube's attention on it too. I don't know. All right. So, okay, let's see what's going on. So still nothing. Damn, bro. I rushed and ran inside the house, everything. Thinking this was going to start. Well, let's talk about this New York story that I heard somebody mention to me recently, and it popped up on my feed right now when I sent it to myself. We can take a look at this. Okay.
The holidays on Dale's farm weren't very...
I guess I can do this. I was trying to find the ABC article. New York rampage.
Here in New York, authorities are
four people fatally stabbed, 2 officers injured in NYC knife attack.
searching for a motive after horrific fatal stabbings. Police say a man killed 4 people, including 2 children, in what's believed to have been a family dispute. 2 officers were also wounded before the suspect was killed. Authorities say the suspect tried to then set the home on fire. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, a horrific scene in Far Rockaway, Queens, where police say a man went on a stabbing rampage before setting the house on fire and then attacking officers.
This scene was chaos. Multiple victims.
Let's see. I want to break it full. Is there a press conference? Let's see if I can pull something up in the meantime so we get more details.
A house on fire. And a madman on a rampage, on a mission.
The first calls for help coming in around 5 this morning from a young girl telling dispatchers her cousin is killing her family members. First responders racing to the home. Police confronting the suspect, 38-year-old Courtney Gordon, in the driveway.
The male draws a knife on officers. He stabs one officer in the neck, chest area. He strikes the second officer in the head.
Officers immediately shooting Gordon. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Officers tried to go inside, but the flames were tearing through the living room. Once the fire was put out, police say they made yet another disturbing discovery.
We found another 3 victims, all dead.
In all, a family of 4, an 11-year-old girl, 12-year-old boy, a 44-year-old woman, and a man in his 30s. Tonight, authorities are working to determine what caused Gordon to snap and turn on his own family.
And I don't know if you noticed, I feel like we're hearing more and more of these kinds of stories. I just feel like it's just like a common occurrence. These people flipping and killing their family, wiping themselves out or killing themselves. Oh, bring the asylums back. By the way, I have this on in the background, guys, with audio, so whenever they start, we'll hear it. They just haven't started, so. You know. Oh, I have to log in. No, I don't want to log in. Hold on. These are the cops coming out of the hospital. Were injured in the line of duty when engaged with an armed man. I think this is the same officer. I don't know if these are the same ones from the stabbing.
Everybody ready? Good morning, everybody, members of the media. I'm Chief Jeff Madry, the Chief of Department for the NYPD. Standing here with me is Joe Kinney, Dr. Kleiman, our Chief Department from Jamaica Hospital. Now, before I get into the details of this terrible event this morning, I do want to thank give our cops the best care. Members from the 101 precinct, a 28-year veteran, a 16-year veteran. As they get to the location on East 22nd Street, and the specific address they were responding to was 467 22nd Street, the officers pull up to the block, and I just kind of want to set the stage for you. It's a residential block with homes on it, with apartments, with private houses. But at this particular location, it's a driveway, and you go up the driveway, and when you get to the end of the driveway, there's another 4 or 5 private homes there, 2-family homes there. So it's like a little residential community in a residential community. So our officers, they pull up to the driveway. As they get to the driveway, they see a male walking out. He's carrying luggage. Our officers ask the male a question or two, an encounter that lasted about 10 seconds, where the male draws a knife on our officers. He stabs one officer in the neck, chest area.
What?
He strikes the second officer in the head. Our 28-year veteran is able to draw his firearm. He's able to discharge his weapon to stop the assault, and he was able to stop the perpetrator. Our 2 officers were removed to a local hospital, Jamaica Hospital. Our perpetrator was removed to a local hospital, and he's since been pronounced dead on arrival. As responding units came to remove the officers and continue the investigation, they go to the location. At the location, there's a young child laying in front of the house, and that young child died of her injuries. They were not able to enter the home because there was a fire inside the living room, the foyer area. FDNY responded. They were able to put out the fire. Another person from the home was removed to a local area hospital who was in likely condition at this time. And once the fire was extinguished and we were able to get into the apartment, we found another 3 victims, all dead. We believe everyone who is dead, the family members, the 4 family members, were all because of stab wounds. So at this time, we'll continue this investigation with our crime scene unit, Queens South Homicide, and the 101 detectives. At the scene, the weapon that was used to injure the officers, a typical kitchen steak knife. And at this time, this is the only weapon we recovered. So as part of the investigation, we'll determine if this was the weapon that was used to harm all the victims. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Can you talk to us about the one who attacked 2 cops? Does he have a history with the department? Is he known to the department?
Yes, I'm going to let the Chief of Detectives, Joe Kinney, take that question.
Yes, at this point, the perpetrator has been identified as a Mr. Courtney Gordon. He's a male, 38 years old. He has 1 prior arrest, and that was for a strangulation domestic violence incident that took place in the Bronx. All right, he has nothing, any history or any contact with the police that bring us back to this location on Beach 22 Street. It seems he's a Bronx resident that was visiting family members at this location.
Do you know what triggered this rampage?
At this point, no, we do not. We do have the 911 caller is back at the 101 station house being interviewed. They may be able to shed some light on what occurred, but at this point, it's still the investigation's ongoing.
Do you have any ages or names on the family member?
We're not going to be releasing the names based on, we still have to make some notifications, but we have a male 12-year-old, a female 44-year-old, and a male in his 30s were found inside 2 back bedrooms of the location. You have the female 11-year-old was found in front of the location, transported to Cohen's Children's Hospital, where unfortunately she passed away. We have a female 61-year-old who is currently at Mount Sinai Hospital in likely condition, suffering from multiple stab wounds.
Can you talk about the fire? What was used to create the fire?
It seems that he lit the couch at the front of the location on fire as he was leaving.
Wow.
At this point, like I said, we're still going through. We're still vetting and confirming identifications, but it seems to all be family relations.
Okay, last question.
So you mentioned one still likely. So are there 3 family members dead? The stabber is another family member who's dead, and so there's 1 more in critical condition?
You have 1 more in critical condition. You have 4
right.
DOA.
Let's move on to the next thing. Okay. So, let's see here. We're still waiting. Incredible. Haven't even started, man. They haven't even started, bro. Thank you guys for joining this morning. I appreciate it, man. If you guys could hit the like button too, really helps out with the supposed algorithm. You know, the algorithm. Let's see what else we got here. I don't know if you guys too. I mean, I had a lot of people yesterday here. There was this crazy story. I think it's worth to play it again. It's worth to play this again.
So this TikToker.
Let me just make sure I didn't cause any problems with my video yesterday, the live stream. I didn't get copyright. Get a hit with the copyright. No. Okay. I think this is kind of interesting with this TikToker that killed somebody. And there's an actual follow-up to him. Some people were telling me about this, and I got tagged on Twitter. So it's worth... I'm going to play it again.
His name's Zachary, and he has a problem. His neighbors don't really like the way he drives. He often speeds through his neighborhood, revs his engine, and the neighbors hate it. Specifically these neighbors, the Durhams.
And by the way, I like watching this guy a lot. Ray William Johnson, I think he's one of the OGs of YouTube. And he does very, very short content. I'll put the link to this video if you want to subscribe to him in the description. But he has a lot of crazy good stories.
Mom, dad, and 2 sons, who we'll call 17 and 21, because those are their ages. And Zachary and the Durhams, they get into it all the time over this. Now, eventually, Zachary, he starts filming these arguments and posting them to his TikTok. And everything changes when he films this. That's the Durham mom.
Get my tag, Karen.
My name is not Karen, so get my name straight.
Now, he posts this video to his TikTok, and it blows up. 3 million views. Now, the Durham family, they see this video of them going viral, and they get pissed off. And 21, he allegedly goes to confront Zachary. And I guess tries to pull him out of his own car and fight him. It's a whole mess, but it's great TikTok content for Zachary, and he films the whole thing. So he starts posting about all this more consistently. And people on TikTok are loving the drama. It's getting him more views, it's getting him more followers, and things keep escalating, and all this goes on for months. And one day, the youngest Durham son, 17, he's out riding his bike. And Zachary, he's driving like an asshole, I guess, and he allegedly comes really close to hitting 17. So Durham mom finds out about this, and she gets really mad, and she goes to confront him. But this time, she records the argument with her phone, and there she is confronting him, and they get into it. And I guess she gets a little too close to Zachary's truck, and he kind of smacks her phone away and strikes her at the same time. Although it's kind of hard to see, and I can't really show you anyway. So then Zachary hauls ass out of there, and he drives back to his house. So the Durham dad and his 2 sons follow him back there, and they are ready to whoop some ass. But Zachary, he ain't playing around. He comes out of his house.
Oh, you mentioned this the other day, Hoax? Isn't it crazy?
He has 2 friends with him. He also has a stun gun and a knife. And really quickly,
okay, so
he has him back there.
So he almost hits this kid, right? The mother confronts him.
Although it's kind of...
He kind of hits the phone, I guess, what they claim here, which you're not... That's technically assault, I believe.
Hard to see, and I can't really show you anyway. So then Zachary hauls ass out of there, and he drives back to his house. So the Durham dad and his 2...
So he goes home, but then the father comes to confront the TikToker, which... I don't know, man. If I was a dad and I heard my kid was almost run over, I'd be pretty pissed off, too. I mean, shit, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. This is kind of like...
2 sons follow him back there, and they are ready to whoop
So the 3 of them come.
But Zachary, he ain't playing around. He comes out of his house, he has 2 friends with him. He also has a stun gun and a knife. And really quickly, this turns into a 3-on-3 brawl. Which I can't show you, but trust me, you're not missing much. Most of the footage looks like this anyway. Now, at the end of the fight, Zachary kind of got beat up, it seems. But he also got a few stabs in, one of them being really bad, puncturing Dad Durham's lung. So the fight ends, and Zachary calls 911.
Emergency.
And police show up, and they make some arrests, and they send Zachary to the hospital for concussion, and the Durham family sends Dad Durham to the hospital for his stab wounds. And after all that chaos, Zachary's in police custody, and he's still in his hospital gown when they give him this terrible news.
No.
Dad Durham didn't survive the fight. So Zachary gets charged with 2nd-degree manslaughter. And they have this long trial where his attorney argues it was self-defense. And after all that, at the end of it all...
Not guilty.
So he walked. And to this day, he still makes TikToks. And sometimes he talks about all of it.
My life was ruined with this case.
And sometimes he'll duet other people who talk about it. It's pretty crazy. Shout out to New Jersey.
Finally, we got a feed. Amazing Grace. So the update with this guy that a couple of people tagged me in and told me about, Beautiful Messy Ball tagged me in this article. So he got acquitted. Not guilty, right? Not guilty. Not guilty. What's that? Is that an R. Kelly song? Not guilty. Not guilty. They try to find us. Oh, Jay-Z, R. Kelly. Not guilty.
I thought this was America.
I thought this was America.
I get it down.
I'm not guilty. Anyway, Hell to the now. Look who got locked up now for stalking a neighbor. Well, look, something wrong with this motherfucker. Bro, you got off on somebody dying. And you still causing shit. At that point, you should chill, retire, man. Go do what you gotta do. Go get a simple job or keep doing your TikToks. I don't know if he still gets views after what happened. A former, let me make sure it's not muted. I mean, yeah, not muted. Okay, good. And I really wonder if they're gonna tell us when they said verdict is in. No, we gotta get confirmation. A former Vineland man acquitted in a fatal stabbing of his neighbor in a fight sparked by TikTok videos of the man's wife now is jailed in Florida. Zachary, 21, faces several charges, including aggravated stalking, sexual voyeurism, what? And violating a restraining order. Even jail didn't stop him, according to court records obtained by Breaking AC. Latham called the victim from Lee County Jail a total of 26 times in less than 4 days. A detective's search of phone records found the victim had the jail's number blocked, so she never received the calls. Her name is redacted from the records due to the nature of the case, so it's not clear whether this was Latham's wife who videoed the May 4, 2020 fight in which 51-year-old William Durham Sr. was killed. Latham is accused of secretly videoing himself have sex with the victim. What? They were in a relationship. Oh, Lord. Okay, we're here, guys. Is the verdict in or what? Homie's a weirdo. I had a friend told me that. I know somebody would talk. I have people talk. I've heard of stories of people being secretly recorded by the person they're with, which boggles my mind why somebody would secretly record somebody. We gotta keep an eye. I can read this to you guys while we wait. So, secretly videoed himself having sex with the victim while they were in a relationship, the court records state. She was alerted to the existence after he sent it out to her parents and at least one other person. That is messed up, you sick F. That's true. Latham willfully, maliciously, and repeatedly followed and harassed the victim while the domestic violence injunction was active. So she had a DV thing against him. In one incident, she was paying at the end of the appointment when Latham showed up behind her and started rubbing her back, according to the report. When she tried to escape to a bathroom, he followed her. She ran to her car, but he was able to get in the back seat and ordered her to drive him somewhere. She complied according to the complaint and then fled after he got out of the car. Cold ass. Durham and his family went to the Latham's May 4, 2020, in a battle between the neighbors that had been brewing for weeks after Latham posted a video of Durham's wife online and it went viral. Okay, we know that. Court TV dubbed it the nasty neighbor stabbing trial. So I think Chaos yesterday said she actually watched the trial. That sounds like it would have been an interesting trial to watch. Latham also had an arrest in Florida while on release and killing. He was accused in January 2021 of using his car as a weapon, which isn't that what he kind of supposedly did to one of the kids of the Durham family? Almost ran somebody over. A motorist in Fort Myers flagged down a trooper saying another driver brandished a firearm at him and then tried to ram his vehicle with their car. So this guy's still on a rampage after he got off on a murder charge and found not guilty. He also could have more charges in another jurisdiction after the victim alerted police to a prior sexual attack on her, the complaint says. Wow. What the hell? Oh, let's do it. You're right. Walkabout Bridge. Okay. There he is. Verdict. Murder. It's going to be option 1. Manslaughter. Option 2. And option 3, not guilty slash self-defense. By the way, did you see that Kyle Rittenhouse is coming out with a book? I think he was recently I thought he was recently on Piers Morgan or something. I didn't get to see. I only saw a snippet. You know, and I don't know. Yeah, he's relating a book. There's some backlash. Some people upset. I don't know. Somebody messaged me yesterday too in the comments. A tiny person. Let me see if I can find the comment. Let's see if I can find it. A tiny person with regards to this case. She had an opinion on it. See if I can share. Here it is. Mel, the only time I weighed over 120 is when pregnant and as a Leo. I guess law enforcement officer maybe. However, all of my kids do not take after me. My son is 6'3", all muscle but a string bean. My youngest daughter is 5'9" and a bodybuilder. And my older 2 daughters are average of 5'6" and 135 through 150. I took down a college Samoan linebacker back in my day. Damn. Many of us tiny are mighty. The ogre wouldn't have stood a chance against a barrage of bullets either. Take the egos and alcohol out of this equation and everyone could have gone home safely. Machismo for Abby killed Timmy. That's Alpha She Wolf 919. Thank you for the comment. She left that 8 hours ago. I don't know if she's watching now. Well, I told the story when I was younger, growing up with my stepbrother. He was always like the skinny guy. He's like actually chubbier now. It surprised me. Like, but back in the day, he was skinnier. He'd always beat me like in wrestling and stuff. We'd kind of wrestle around or whatever. He was always stronger than me. I don't know about now though, because I work out some more now and stuff like that. I mean, he might be, but he's actually bigger now too, though. The victim, I forget the height, 5'4", something like that, and 120, 130 pounds. Was he 5 something? I think? Okay, so far the poll, we got 134 votes. Some people, there's been a glitch. I know some people are saying the poll is blank. There's some type of glitch going on. I'm surprised YouTube hasn't fixed this yet. Rat4 in the chat says, if the poll is blank and you're using Android YouTube, turn off dark mode. Try that out. So 44% say murder, 45% say manslaughter, 11% say not guilty / self-defense. I'm kind of leaning towards, I think they're going to give this guy manslaughter. Now, we got to figure out the time that he can do, right? Because I thought murder he could do up to life, I thought, and then manslaughter, somebody said like up to 30 years. And I don't think he's going to get even that long, honestly. I don't know. It really kind of depends on the jury. I feel like if this was Florida, he could walk out not guilty. And I wonder if they do actually truly have the verdict. A recap. Let me get an. Oh, hold on. I could go off the top of my head, but I'd like to give you like the actual sequence. Oh my god. Let me see what they're going to say here, and then I'll see if I can give you, I have the actual document that I can read off to you. We don't need to read the whole thing, but just the night of what happened. But basically, this whole thing started off with John. Well, let's wait. Let's see. All aboard. If they don't have the verdict, then we're gonna have time. But if they do have the verdict, then we're not gonna have time. All aboard. I'll load up the article, the PDF in the meantime, so I can read it to you.
Mr. DeLee, would you please stand and face the jury?
Oh.
And would the foreperson please stand?
They have a verdict.
Madam foreperson, has the jury reached a verdict in this case?
Yes, we have.
And how do you find, Madam foreperson, on charge ID ending in 411C, charging reckless conduct, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
You say, Madam Foreman, that the verdict is guilty on reckless conduct, so say you all, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. And in charge ID ending in 962, charging second-degree murder, alleging knowingly causing the death of Timothy Pouliot, how do you find, Madam Foreman, guilty or not guilty? You say, Madam Foreman, that the verdict of knowing second-degree murder is guilty, so say you all, ladies and gentlemen? And in the charge of second-degree murder, alleging causing the death of Timothy Pouliot under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, how do you find, Madam Foreman, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Say, Madam Foreman, that the verdict is guilty on that charge as well, so say you all, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, he's gonna do some time. Unless they get him concurrently.
Clerk will ask each of you individually for your individual verdict with respect to each of the charges.
Okay, so we're going to start with the reckless conduct charge, and I'm going to go in numerical order. So when I indicate your number, would you please stand and answer the question? So juror number 1, on the charge of reckless conduct, what is your verdict, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 2, what is your individual verdict of reckless conduct? Thank you. Juror number 3, what is your individual verdict on the reckless conduct charge? Verdict of reckless conduct. Juror number 4, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 5, what is your individual verdict? Thank you. Juror number 6, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 7, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 8, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 9, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 10, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 13, what is your individual verdict of reckless conduct? Thank you. And juror number 14, what is your individual verdict on reckless conduct? Thank you. Now, on the second-degree murder charge alleging the knowingly causing the death of Timothy Pouliot, juror number 1, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 2, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 3, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 4, what is your individual
Let's
verdict?
do a poll too.
Juror number 5, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 6, what is your individual verdict?
Aren't you surprised?
Juror number 7, what is your individual verdict? Thank you. Juror number 8, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 9, what is your individual verdict? And juror number 10, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 13, what is your individual verdict? Thank you. And juror number 14, what is your individual verdict? Thank you. We'll now poll the jurors on charge ID ending 410C, which is second-degree murder, in that the John DeLee recklessly caused the death of Timothy Pouliot under circumstances manifesting an extreme indifference to the value of human life. Juror number 1, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Thank you. Juror number 2, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 3, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
Juror number 4, what is your individual verdict?
Guilty.
No expression either from John,
what is
I
your
guess, huh?
individual verdict? Juror number 6, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 7, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 8, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 9, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 10, what is your individual verdict? Juror number 13, what is your individual verdict? Okay, and juror number 14, what is your individual verdict?
I guess for the record, I think the jurors you listed are based on their current seats. I think it was, if I recall correctly, 7. Yeah, you're 14 and 15, right? Yes, and okay. Correct. And because 12 and 13 were the alternates, that was 7. So just so the record's clear, that there hasn't been any substitution. That's the original 12 jurors that were picked. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service. I'll come back and thank you informally.
Will they do sentencing today?
Very briefly.
That's what I'm wondering. I'll do sentencing now. Hope it's not one of these places you got to wait weeks and months. Wow. I was a little surprised. I was thinking they were going to get him at manslaughter, and I was definitely thinking they were going to get him on the reckless stuff. I didn't think they were going to get him on murder, but hey.
So based on the verdict, bail will remain, no bail hold.
Rest in peace to Timmy. That's great for the family, too. I'm sure they're happy.
To schedule a sentencing date. Does either side ask for a formal pre-sentence investigation report? I'll be candid. I tend to find the parties' sentencing memorandum more helpful than the PSI, but if you want to,
Leslie,
I'd consider it. Okay.
Not from the state, right?
Okay. All right. So I'll have you work with the clerk to pick a date. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, those jury instructions were very confusing. And I thought the defense was a bit weak with their witnesses.
Hey, you're still alive, buddy. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Rewind it 1 second. What did it say? You're still alive or what?
Hey, you're still alive, buddy. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Hey, you got a lot of support in there. How come none of y'all took the stand or whatever? I don't know. The heck? Now I'm curious to see. I think he said he's going to take a moment to talk with the lawyers. Yeah, he got support in there. I thought he... I thought it was like Dolo in there. I wonder if they'll... I'm really hoping to do sentencing today because sometimes they'll bring the defendant's family or whatever to plead to like, please give a lighter sentence or please whatever. And he said at least you're still alive. Probably Timmy's family. I thought he said... It was really hard to make out what he said. I can rewind it again. Let's listen again while we wait.
Hey, you're still alive, buddy.
Hey, you're still alive, buddy. I think you're right. There is people saying I love you, but there's one person that said, hey, you're still alive, buddy, I think.
Hey, you're still alive, buddy. Buddy. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
But it was meant to be like a positive thing, though. You're still alive. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, I think that's positive, right? Unless it's like a dark. No, I think that was like a positive thing towards him. Okay, so we're back live now. Sounded facetious to you, really? Yeah, I was kind of wondering what exactly that meant. And I was thinking of too of like Tim Faraday, I was thinking of Tim Faraday, and how I remember his mother like kind of like took pleaded for him during sentencing, and to try to get him a lighter sentence. So I wonder those people out there, I love you.
are they gonna, you know, try to get him a lighter sentence? And then is Tim's family going to be there and say something too? So this is looking bad. Let me see. Let me see if I can look up how much time this guy's facing. So he got found guilty on all the charges. The worst, he got a full murder charge too. He didn't get the manslaughter. Facing how many years? Let's see. "24 years old. Crazy. John is 24. They had horrible witnesses too. Like the defense, they had some really bad, sketchy witnesses. Oh my! But I think those witnesses were Tim's friends, I guess. They didn't really have nobody. They should have brought out Abby. Okay, so they will also consider whether he is guilty of manslaughter. So the manslaughter would have carried up to 30 years in prison. That would have been the lesser sentence. But it says their second-degree murder is punishable by up to 20 to 40 years in prison. So I guess not that much of a difference. I thought it was life. But then you got to think about the other charges too. He has, maybe I have it saved here in my notes. He has, the other charge is recklessly causing the death of Pouliot under circumstances manifesting an extreme indifference to the value of human life by shooting him. And the other one is like reckless endangerment by firing a pistol multiple times in the proximity of an occupied motor vehicle and or pedestrians. So I don't know if he'll get that concurrent, meaning he'll just serve it all at the same time, or if they're going to be like separate and add years to his sentence. So he's going to be doing a long time, but he could probably still get out while he's alive. A huge chunk of his life could potentially be gone, depending on how much time they give him. It's not worth it, man. Really, it's not worth it. You know, but these young kids, I mean, I've been there. I've never been too crazy like that. I've avoided a lot of trouble, but hanging around the wrong people, your ego, and then mix alcohol in there, maybe even testosterone, a lot of extra testosterone when you're younger. You know, then mixing a woman kind of potentially adding on to it and or whispering in your ear, he said this, he said that. Now you got to like defend the honor of the woman or whatever kind of BS. The verdict was guilty, Amanda, and now we're waiting for them to come back. He's talking with the attorneys. I'm wondering if we're going to get sentencing today. Let me see if there's anything in the chat. I got to subscribe. Let me subscribe so I can chat here. I want to ask. I don't know if any of them know. And I was surprised that John DeLee had no reaction. I mean, if it was me and my life is in ruin, of course Timmy's life is in ruin, you know, but now you're sentenced guilty. Who knows how many years you're going to get. That guy, from what I could see, it seemed like he had no reaction. I don't know if he knew it was coming. So I guess what I can do too while we wait, I'll just do like a little mini recap of this. Where's this out here? Okay. Okay. So I have the audio on, so if they come back, we'll hear it. Okay. So we'll just try to go through this kind of quickly. I mean, there's no rush, but so January 27 into the early morning hours of January 28 are as follows. Mr. DeLee, which is John DeLee, he's the defendant, and his friends, Mr. Soldano and Mr. Chandler, which it stuck out to me too, right? These guys did not testify, I believe. Was Soldano there? I don't think John's friends testified. I think Tim's friends testified when called by the defense. Oh, they're back.
But again, I did not interpret, and again, that is my apology. As for a number of years, I don't just
What the heck? They ended it. I kind of don't like that they don't tell you what's going on. They just cut it off. I guess we'll have to find out when the sentencing is. Like they don't communicate anything. There's nobody in the chat. I know this is like the second channel for Law and Crime. There's nobody really in the chat. They don't communicate anything, and they just cut it off. So I'm assuming they do the sentencing at another date. The RICO trial I heard is pretty good. Hey, by the way, wasn't that other trial supposed to start the vigilante thing? I think they're doing the jury selection today. I wonder if they'll start today. Vigilante justice. All right. So anyway, I'll read this part and then we'll decide what we're gonna do. So John and his friends, Soldano and Chandler, were all at the Goat nightclub at Old Granite Street in Manchester, as were Mr. Pouliot, which is Timothy, and his friends Mendoza and Nash, which they testified for the defense. Also at the Goat are a friend of John DeLee, Miss Elliott, and two of her friends, which one of them is Abby. The first interaction between John and Timothy occurred when, according to Miss Elliott, Timothy and one of his friends were a little too close, and Miss Elliott and her friends, according to Elliott, Mr. John and Timothy had some heated words and then shook hands, and Timothy walked away. We did see that at one point on the video. That was like the first interaction. Later, according to Miss Elliott, she heard Timothy say the words to the effect that he could punch that kid over there, meaning John, in the face and knock him out with one punch, and that he was a professional fighter. She also reports that she heard Timothy's friend, Mr. Mendoza, say that he was going to knock him out, meaning John, out before the end of the night. Miss Elliott reports that she told John about what she heard. So this is Abby telling John, the defendant, what she heard, and that John flashed his gun and said, "I'm not worried, I have protection." In the next relevant interaction, John approached Timothy at the bar and they exchanged words for a bit over half a minute. A person Timothy had been talking with reports that during the exchange, John challenged Timothy to go out and fight. At the end of this exchange, John pushed Timothy. Bouncers intervened and escorted John away. So we saw this on video. He walks up to him. He hears from this chick that he wanted to punch him and knock him out. So he confronts him. He's like, "Hey, let's take this outside." And I guess Timothy at that time had denied, had turned him down, and he pushes Tim. Bouncers intervene. A little less than 2 minutes later, Timmy's friend, Mr. Mendoza, approached John and punched him in the face and then wrestled on the floor. So we saw some video too at this moment. 2 minutes later, what happens on video, before Tim's friend Mendoza punches John, Tim gets up from the bar after he was pushed by after he was pushed by John. He gets up from the bar. John had already walked away. Tim gets up, walks closer or towards John. He has a conversation with somebody. He walks past John and then kind of stands there. And then Tim's friend goes and sucker punches
John. And so then they wrestled to the floor. John sustained a visible cut on the face. Bouncers intervened and escorted John out of the GOAT. While John was escorted out, and after he reached the sidewalk outside, he was visibly agitated, repeatedly and loudly yelling the words to the effect of, "Who punched me? Who punched me in the face? I'll fight you," and the like. While John and his two friends were on the sidewalk to the right of the entrance of the GOAT, Timothy exited the GOAT and walked away to the left. Timothy's two friends, Mendoza and Nash, exited the GOAT, crossed the street, and got into the car. Mr. Nash, smoking a cigarette, then exited the car and crossed the street towards John's friends. John and Nash exchanged words, then John punched Nash, which we saw on video as well. They exchanged a few words, and John visibly offered to shake Nash's hands. Nash visibly declined, which you did see that on video too. He kind of swiped it away, which I don't blame him for declining. You already punched me in the face. Why am I going to shake your hand? I don't, and then John hit Nash again with a second punch. At no point did Nash resist or fight back, which that is kind of shocking to me. Maybe he knew he had a gun. I don't know. If I'm getting punched once and then a second time, I'm not just going to, I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing he didn't punch him, because maybe he would have been the one dead. At that point, Mr. Mendoza had exited the car and crossed the street to approach John and his friends. So while this interaction is happening with John and Tim's friends, where Tim's friend got punched twice, Tim's friend is watching from across the street. Mendoza, he exits the car, approaches John and his friends. Mendoza points what has been determined to be a pepper spray canister at John in close proximity. That's when John pulls out his gun from his waistband, which, I don't know, gun in the waistband. He drops the gun, picked it up, and racked it. He does not appear from the video evidence to have pointed the gun directly at Mr. Mendoza. Mr. Mendoza backs off, and John's friends push John, escorting him away northward up the sidewalk. John reached down the alleyway to the north of Soho nightclub. By then, he had put the gun back in the waistband. That alley led to the parking lot where John and his friends had left their car. So he was kind of like walking away at this point. John walked down the alley, but then started walking back. Drew the gun, then put the gun away again. One of his friends pointed and pushed him in a visible effort to get John to walk down the alleyway towards their car. In the meantime, Tim's friends, Mendoza and Nash, had followed John and his friends to the north, to a location across the street from the alley entrance. At about the same time, Timothy reversed direction, and despite Miss Elliott's efforts to stop him, and despite Mendoza's yelling he's got a gun, walked past the GOAT to approach John. So, I mean, when reading this, there was so many freaking times that any person could have turned away and this whole thing would have been de-escalated. Whether it was Tim, whether it was John, whether it was his friend, Tim's friends. The only group that I think had been trying to de-escalate the entire time were John's friends. Not John, but John's friends. Those were the only people I think the entire time were trying to like, hey, let's chill. Let's walk away. It's not worth it. Whatever. So he walked past the GOAT to approach John and John's friends near the entrance to the alley. As is apparent in Exhibit 9, a bystander's cell phone video at that point, John and Tim and at least 3 of John's friends and Tim's friends were standing in a rough circle. What was being said cannot be heard, but Tim can plainly be seen punching John in the face. John immediately raised the gun and fired multiple times into Tim. As Exhibit 6 shows, John then walked down the alley with his gun still out, but then turned back and put the gun away and put his hands up. Then I believe John shot Tim like 9 times. So, yeah, it's just like one of those things that like I've experienced in my own life. Just so many different things. Had one thing been different, maybe the whole night could have turned out to be something else than what it turned out to be. It's crazy. Crazy. I remember things in my life
years ago that had I not done one thing the way I did, the whole thing right now could be different. Well, my whole life could be different right now from one decision. You know? Crazy. So, let me see, me refresh here. See if they came back live. They did not come back live. All right, I guess that's it for now then. A little disappointed they're not communicating, but let me see if there's anything online that says when the sentencing is. John DeLee, nothing. Let's see, long crime. I heard this RICO trial is pretty wild, though.
Abundance of caution. Okay.
Or at least the beginning was. I don't know. By the way, hi to the Facebook people. I'm sorry I haven't been in the chat too much because I was kind of reading a lot of stuff. But I just want to say hi to Monica, Glenda, Mary, Dave, Marissa, Tara. What else did I miss? Mary, Rachel, Wendy, Amiana. Did I get everybody? Did I get everybody? Thank you guys too for coming over there. All right, let me see. YouTube. Yeah, wasting human life, right? That's crazy. I feel like when I was younger, I didn't have as much value in life. I don't know if that just comes with a thing of like when you're young. I feel like the older I got, I don't know. I feel like the older you get, you're just more, I don't know, aware of, I don't know how easy it is to die. More self-conscious, I think. And then after having a kid too, you know, I just want to see her grow up before I die, you know, and like be good. Kind of like fearless, maybe not aware when you're younger. Verdict was guilty on all charges. We don't know what the sentencing is though. They just cut it off after that. Flip the switch. Oh, Trump. So Trump, yeah, he has a whole thing going on in Georgia. Georgia. He has a whole thing going on in Georgia. So they gave him they gagged him. So he can't talk about the case anymore because he was doing a lot of talking about it. Donald Trump gag. I think that's currently happening right now. I don't know if the trial, I think the trial is happening. Donald Trump's gag order reinstated in civil fraud trial. That's the last thing I heard about that. Yeah, Debbie, that's interesting. Men build, boys destroy. Luffy said, can't Trump use sign language to communicate? Oh, man. Hey, man, iCkEdMeL always make me think about times I could be dead or arrested. Yeah, I'm very lucky that I'm alive and good. All right. Let me see. Leslie says, all right, so I guess I'm going to head out for now. But I guess since we ended early today, who knows? I'll work on some stuff for later. Today is Monday, too, so I got to come up with something for missing Monday. Kind of last minute because I haven't edited anything. Maybe I'll do it in the form of a live stream. And I'll look for a story later on at 7. But yeah, it leaves the day open, which is nice. And I also want to kind of look into the Josh Cantu thing a little bit. So, yeah. Oh yeah, the Santa thing, Santa, I believe he's overheating. I keep leaving him on overnight. You can't leave Santa running for hours on end, apparently. I don't know. So he stops working when I just leave it on. Seems like he gets overheated. I think I should just go get a new one, because maybe I don't know if I've damaged it already. So, but yeah. You guys, see you later. Bloop, bloop. People are complaining, too, that I keep ending it too early. Like, I don't say the bloop, bloop. So I'm going to say bloop, bloop, and wait a couple of seconds. Bloop, bloop.